In today's program, a unique synthesis of modern stage technologies and the freshness of musical and plastic solutions with an exclusive heritage of predecessors. All this in the Uzbek theater Silk Route Marionettes. Fascinating patterns of Kyrgyz stage dance. The theater of the national costume, Arlan Zhete, one of the calling cards of Kazakhstan. Hello, as you know, at all times people needed not only bread but also circuses. Well, how can we live without those two things, especially if you are an outside, your permanent habitat and habitual affairs. In addition, each of us wants to contemplate something original, unusual, and colorful. I am proud that in our region at any time of the year you can find something interesting for yourself in this regard. Here, for example, concerts with the participation of the dance ensemble Shatik. It is the pride of Kyrgyzstan, and you will understand this by watching this report from our Bishkek correspondent. The folk ensemble Shatik is the same age as independent Kyrgyzstan. Over these 28 years, team members have repeatedly conquered the audience with their skill, talent, amazing performances. No important event in the cultural life of the country takes place without the participation of the dancers of the ensemble. It has become a kind of a brand of Kyrgyzstan since the popularity of the team grows every year far beyond the borders of the Republic.
Например, в этом году мы посетили такую поездку, как Кувейт.
This year we visited Kuwait. 12 people participated in this trip. So I went with my team. For us, it was an unforgettable experience. When you go and represent your country, your homeland, you're a patriot. Recently, we participated in events organized by the Turksoy International Organization. It was held in the city of Osh. We are also participating in various events with the ensemble. This year, we will perform for the participants of the SCO Summit. For us, this is a great event.
Для нас это огромное мероприятие.
Давайте еще раз полную ногу. Прогибы покажите, кордебра, боковое, назад, вперед.
Pupils of the ensemble, and there are about 500 of them, are distinguished by such qualities as purposefulness, diligence, discipline, and dedication of the chosen profession. Indeed, during the preparation for an important concert or performance, the rehearsal time doubles. But in addition to training and rehearsals, you need to take part in the discussion of a new production with a choreographer and ballet master, run for a fitting and a sewing workshop. By the way, the costumes are admired by many. They are very beautiful. For 28 years, Shatik has managed to become the most popular and prestigious dance ensemble in Kyrgyzstan, and its members are not going to stop there.
В этот ансамбль я пришла в 4 года.
I came to this ensemble when I was 4 years old. At first, honestly, I didn't understand why I came here, but it was interesting, and gradually, every year more and more, I got attracted to classes. But now, when I have been dancing for 11 years, I cannot imagine my life without dancing, without my lessons. We recently traveled to Saudi Arabia. There was a festival of nomads, and we were preparing for this trip for quite a long time. And our ensemble was dancing on the main stage of the event, and we spent a month there. It was great.
Тоже наш ансамбль танцевал на главной сцене и провели там месяц. Хорошо прошел.
The rehearsals of the dance ensemble for outside observers are of course a spectacle, delight and positive emotions. Well, for the artists themselves, this is an integral part of life, the hardest work, and the manifestation of willpower. Usually rehearsals last about 2 hours, but due to the fact that this year many concerts are planned, participation in various competitions, festivals, both domestically and abroad. They have to rehearse for 4 and sometimes for 6 hours a day. Observing from the side, you unwittingly compare their rehearsals with the army training, where above all is discipline.
Дело в том, что знаменитый хореограф Игорь Александрович Моисеев, он всегда говорил, что хореография.
The fact is that the famous choreographer Igor Moiseev always said that there must be a dictatorship in the ballet. Dictatorship is when 100 and 250, 500 people perform a dance in unison with one breath. That's very beautiful. Together we work, of course, looking for new approaches, and not only in the creation of national costumes. We look at old photos and, of course, we make suits copying the old style. For example, as it was and is in the Bakkan region, Osh, Jalalabad, Issyk-Kul, so that both the movements and the drawing are a bit like in those regions of Kyrgyzstan where our people live. The heroes of our story do not hide that for each of them, Shatyk ensemble is a second home. Accordingly, they are not just team members, they are a big and friendly family that achieves its tasks no matter how difficult it is.
Все люди, которые меня окружают в этом ансамбле, они уже как
All the people who surround me in this ensemble are already like brothers and sisters. This is an indescribable feeling. When you're attached to those people, you're used to working with them on different choreography and travel to different countries. Last year and the first half of this year were fruitful for Shatyk. It's enough to name the Third World Nomad Games, where the ensemble performed on the main stage, the opening of the year Osh, the cultural capital of the Turkic World 2019, 100 children of the team demonstrated their art, a special program during the celebration of Nowruz, concerts in various cities and many other events. Of course, each performance focuses on a national flavor. But of course, the main path, the direction of our ensemble is, after all, a love of Kyrgyz dance, because we live in Kyrgyzstan. I think when we often go abroad to international festivals and competitions, when we represent our republic, here we need to show the literacy and professionalism of performing the national Kyrgyz stage dance, show all love, color, music, drawing and costume. Today the ensemble presents to the audience several concert programs that combine more than 30 dances, staged at different times. Each of them has its own brightly expressed choreography, style and genre, and they are all works of art. It is no coincidence that Shatyk is called a forge of personnel, of new ideas and stunning productions. Despite its relatively young age, 28 years, the ensemble continues to be young, creative, strong, and popular. All its participants are proud of their past. They confidently look to the future, because there are more than enough interesting ideas and creative inspiration for them.
А сейчас мы отправимся в Ташкент, где с понятием зрелища...
And now we will go to Tashkent, where there was never a problem with the concept of spectacle. In this city, anyone can find a lot of interesting, exciting views. By the way, if you look into history, then of course, we know that in ancient times Uzbekistan was famous for its puppet theaters. They were a favorite entertainment for many. Later this tradition was lost, but not so long ago they decided to revive it, and very successfully. Today in Tashkent, there is a puppet theater, the only one of its kind in all of Central Asia. At least, the only professional. Here, a talented troupe and magnificent dolls present daily various performances that immerse kids and adults in the mysterious world of Oriental tales. In this cozy auditorium designed for 150 people, there is an unusual stage area, and the dolls come to life on it. Behind the scenes, they seem small, silent, and motionless, and on the stage, they go through a wonderful transformation.
Пеппа, доченька, ну как ты могла? Что ты наделала, доченька?
Прощай, папочка.
Отведите ее в одну из свободных комнат. Удочерись, пока я не передумал.
Белла, прощай. Я обязательно постараюсь вызволить тебя отсюда.
Пойдем.
We recently had a premiere of the play Beauty and the Beast. 6 actors were involved in our performance. Each has his own role, and everyone must diligently tune in to the doll in order to give the audience the feeling that the doll comes to life on stage. Young people who managed to revive these characters are real wizards, and thanks to them, every spectator, be it a child or an adult, understands that miracles await them in this theater. I first came to this performance because my sister recommended it. We really enjoyed it. We had a great time with 3 children. It was very interesting. Fairy tales really come to life here. And even the 2-year-old child really liked it. He sat and looked with interest at all this. And we did not notice how 40 minutes flew by. We will now come here more often and spend time here. Famous heroes of children's fairy tales, Aladdin, the Wizard of the Emerald City, Kolobok, Unusual Street Musicians, Beauty and the Beast, a Joker, and a Sash, Hush Nasreddin, are waiting for their young viewers to share with them not only their joy and feelings, but also their wisdom. We have everything in a modern form, not like before. We have both Aladdin and Snow White and Kolobok. Children learn from them. This place is very musical, so children won't be bored. We have an uninterrupted music. Little talk with puppets, but more of music, so children can hear them, develop their ears, their speech, and their sense of puppets. Puppets living and acting in performance teach and educate both children and adults, awaken in everyone an interest in creative perception of life, revive exalted feelings from contact with miracle of scenic revitalization of colorful dolls, and their transformation into memorable images. Dolls come in papier-mâché and polyurethane. For example, even the heads of these dolls are a sculpture. First, you need to fill it and let it dry. In general, we have our own workshop. We also have girls who can sew beautiful costumes for these dolls. It takes approximately from 2 weeks to a month to make one character. The beloved characters of different tales and stories in this theater harmoniously coexist with modern sound, light, and visual effects.
Наши куклы вот сами ребята делают. Вот, например, этот.
Our guys make dolls themselves. As you can see, this is called yaga. This side is the left leg, and this one is the right. Look, but this is a triangle. This helps to control the head, and this is called a rubber rod. It controls the handles. In our theater, the actors must feel the doll. If he does not feel, and he does not have acting skills, the doll will not move. Watching the actors of the theater, you understand that they're all great professionals. They're not only able to master the puppets around the stage, but also to make these dolls and decorations themselves. If you ask a question, how was this theater created? How did this theater appear? There was the idea of one person who saw the Magic Theater in Austria and wanted the exact same theater to appear in Uzbekistan. We started learning and rehearsing in 2012, in 2014, and on March 21st, we announced to the people that we had opened up. We showed a fragment from our first performance, Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. It was very successful. You can say that this performance is our calling card.
Приказывай, я к твоим услугам.
Ничего себе, лампочка! Ты кто?
Я Мамур, сын Барбада, самый могущественный из джиннов. Я раб лампы и раб того, кто ею владеет. Требуй от меня, чего хочешь. Если тебе угодно, чтобы я разрушил город или построил дворец, приказывай.
It needs to be noted that the same puppet controlling technique is used in the theaters of Tashkent and Salzburg, and it is included in the UNESCO World Heritage List.
Вначале нас обучал такой человек.
At first, we were taught by such a person who himself worked in the Salzburg theater. His name was Pavel Tikhonov.
Близкий друг и мастер тоже по...
And his close friend, the puppet master, the owner of the Vienna theater, Werner Hirster, continued this work. He further began to work with us. Viennese puppets are peculiar because they look like a real person. They look real and they look alive. The progressive view of the creative team of the theater studio introduces a special atmosphere of the momentariness and belonging to the performances, awakens meaningful moral associations, the desire to be better, kinder, to have more empathy. To date, we have already started working on the play The Language of Birds. We invited a very talented puppet master director, Shomurat Yusupovich, to stage this play. The Language of Birds by Alisher Navoy. It will be for adults and tourists. The performances here are in both Uzbek and Russian. Moreover, in the Russian language, versions of colorful oriental interjections, familiar to all residents of Uzbekistan, are necessarily used.
В нашем театре, как мы управляем кукол...
In our theater, we manage puppets from a height of 2 meters, so it's impossible to technically voice them live. Therefore, we first record the whole performance and then play. Our theater is constantly visited by tourists. We want to continue to make performances with English voice acting or with English subtitles.
Или вот с английскими субтитрами.
Previously, the puppet theater on the territory of Uzbekistan was called Chodir Khayal, which means theater of fantasies or ghosts. The performances were shown exclusively in the evening indoors with special lighting. Today, this Tashkent puppet theater, based on the centuries-old traditions of Uzbek folk art, presents the world with a unique synthesis of modern stage technologies and the freshness of musical plastic solutions, with an exclusive heritage of the skill and aspirations of its predecessors. I brought my little brother here. I thought that it won't be interesting to me personally, but it turns out that I too remembered my childhood. I got acquainted with the repertoire, and I think I will come back again for each performance in order to plunge into the atmosphere of fairy tales and remember my childhood.
А сейчас мы расскажем вам о совершенно...
And now we will be happy to tell you about a completely different form and content of the theater, which successfully operates in the southern capital of Kazakhstan and is always a welcome guest in any country in the world. It's very original and authentic, and this is noted by all who have seen the performance at least once. We're talking about the theater of the national costume Arlan Zhete. What a beautiful name, isn't it? It's so sonorous, brutal, and most importantly, memorable. But I will not detain your attention anymore. Let's watch the next story. Muslim Jumagaliyev is the head of the national costume theater Arlan Zhete, which is widely known not only in Kazakhstan, but also far beyond its borders. Since childhood, Muslim's parents instilled in him a love of art. Therefore, it's not surprising that he decided to connect his life with the modeling business. He always sought to become a famous designer. My grandfather said, to be individual, never go along the already prepared path. Search for your own way. Yes, it will be a difficult path, but it will be yours. And there will be others willing to follow it. But you will be the first, and it will always be your way. The idea of creating such an unusual theater occurred to a very young Muslim in the mid-80s of the last century. Once in Moscow, he accidentally wandered into the Museum of Weapons where an interesting exhibition was held. There, one fur chapan caught his attention, which seemed not just majestic.
Он был огромный. Он примерно в плечо.
It was huge. It was about shoulder width wide, and in length, somewhere 1 meter and 80 centimeters. I came close to have a look and read the information about it. It was a costume from East Kazakhstan, the Kyrgyz region, and it became very interesting to me. I turned around and began to look at other exhibits in a different way.
Мне стало интересно. Я развернулся, я с другим интересом уже стал смотреть экспонаты.
On that day, Muslim had an idea, which he later constantly thought about. And this despite the fact that he was able to declare himself publicly in the modeling business. He successfully exhibited his collections both in Kazakhstan and abroad. True, he constantly encountered a violation of his copyright by some European designers, so he decided to quit the fashion industry, realizing that if they steal ideas from him, it means he's capable of more.
Тогда у меня появилась мысль как раз.
And then I had a thought. I already collected information since 1991, and this thought has already been laid. I began to collect materials, accessories, leather, fur. I began to study fully what and from where it all came from. I studied the history and direction of the Silk Road, as things were called.
До 95 года собирать, создавать коллекции. Я их как раз начал уже выставлять в 95 году.
Until 1995, I began to create collections. I began to exhibit them in 1995. I began to travel a lot. I went to museums, traveled abroad. On June 18, 1998, I already opened the presentation of Astana. I opened it with Tengri Umay block. These were stylized costumes of the Turkic era. Slowly, I began to create costumes and higher models. My first models were 1 meter 87 centimeters tall. Every year, there were more guys, and they were much taller. Some of them were 2 meters 11 centimeters, 2 meters 14 centimeters.
Больше. Сейчас вот ребята уже 2,11, 2,14 ростом.
So a completely unusual, one might say, unique theater of national costumes Arlan Zhete appeared, which was created thanks to many famous personalities.
Я вот перед ребятами, девчатами всегда ставил задачу. Изначально наш проект...
I always set a task before my team. Initially, our project's goal is popularization and propaganda of our culture, our traditions, and our customs. We must be recognized and well known. We must integrate into the global cultural space. Yes, there are artists who are constantly on stage. They sing and perform. But our mission is that we should be among people, hold events, shows, acquaint people with costumes, tell some nuances, why we wore those costumes. Each costume has its own purpose, its own semantics. Here, for example, the hunting suit of a wealthy man from the Naiman family. The red color of the shirt meant that the person belonged to the high class. Over the shirt, the hunter wore a kilted kaftan. It was sewed from different materials. In cold weather, it was warm, and in hot weather, on the contrary, it was cool. As a rule, hunters use this kind of marl skin armor, so that it is durable, comfortable, and light. The skin is tanned, treated in saline, fixed with resin. Naturally, the armor was decorated with elements of bronze and other metals. The belt was made of camel leather, which was also tanned and decorated with nickel silver. Knives were made of pure steel, and for the handle they used the horn of morel. So that it was convenient for a hunter to shoot a bow, he would put on handcuffs that protected him against external factors and did not allow to hook on the sleeves. As a complement to the costume, there was a luxurious malachai from a fur of a young wolf with embroidered signs of amulets.
Мен өзім Шығыс Қазақстан облысының тумасы болғандықтан, руым Найман болғандықтан,
I am from East Kazakhstan. I belong to the Naiman tribe. Accordingly, in this theater, I demonstrate the clothes that were worn in ancient times by the Naiman tribe. Wearing this clothes, I am convinced how wise my ancestors were, how clever and practical they were in sewing clothes. The suit is suitable for all occasions, whether a person is riding a horse or in the country goes on foot. 2 years ago, I came to Almaty from Uzbek, specifically to get a job at this theater, and I'm very glad that I stayed here.
Раз в 2 года мы проводим кастинг.
Every 2 years, we hold a casting. The main requirements for the actors are first of all human qualities because they work in a team, and so that like in any other projects they can quickly mobilize and without my help could get together, work something out, show their performance as a team, support each other.
Показать представление, выступить как команда.
Previously, I somehow did not focus on height, but it became our signature. Now we have a minimum height of 1 meter 95 centimeters and above. Very tall guys come to us. There is a problem with their logistics. For example, to travel somewhere. They neither fit in the plane nor in the train. And it was always problematic to constantly rent a car.
Нанимать машину каждый раз это было проблематично.
One time we had an interesting thing that happened on the plane. We were on our way home from France. My friend Ruslan is 2 meters 14 centimeters tall. He had a place by the window, and he did not fit there. He had to stand for almost 4 hours. Everyone was so indignant. But these are interesting cases.
У меня до сих пор есть ребята, которые изначально, когда были, они до сих пор у меня работают. Им уже за 30 лет, они до сих пор у меня там есть бизнесмены.
I still have people who have been working with us since day one. They are already over 30 years old. There are businessmen, bankers, builders. Some of them, due to their work in the theater, changed their activities. Someone studied at the police or railway academy, and now they fully transferred to show business.
Полностью перешел в шоу-бизнес. В реальности...
In reality, you don't have to stay at Arlan Zhete Theater forever. It should be a jumpstart that launches your career. That is, you can go ahead and realize yourself in life. There are officials who work in the state structure. Someone teaches. There are a lot of people who even copy the position of vice minister. A lot of media people. Someone became Miss Kazakhstan or an artist. Asel Sagatova, Muslim Taukil, Ojaz Aljanov, Arlan Zhete. Through our theater, they find something for themselves.
Miss Kazakhstan, там артистов, там Asel Sagatova, Muslim Taukil, Ojaz Aljanov, Arlan Zhete.
It doesn't matter whether it will be their future life. A regular guy came from the village looking for work, and when he came here, he immerses himself in this life, communicates with people, understands that here he can realize himself. I try to take more people from the street because they are more natural, and for me, this is one of the signature things, because in Soviet times, there were more amateur activities, and I believe that in every Kazakh there is a creative spirit.
Потому что они более естественные. И для меня это, как считается, одной из фишек, потому что вот раньше была же в советское время самодеятельность.
Each performance of the Arlan Zhete Theater creates a real sensation.
В 2015 году мы на экспо, там было около 183 стран было.
In 2015, at the Expo exhibition, there were about 183 countries. We silently left our pavilion. There were more than 20 people. We held flags of Kazakhstan in our hands. And we went like a caravan throughout the exhibition. And someone was just in shock, someone was in daze. The reaction was different. And when people came up and took pictures with the guys, their eyes were burning, someone was trembling. In 1 year, we performed in Milan at the Piccola Theater and decided not to change clothes, but to walk in costumes to the hotel. And just as we went to the Cathedral Square, it was 11:45 at night. We couldn't get to the hotel. People began to appear along the way. We approached the square and about 2,000 people gathered around us. They didn't let us go. The same situation was in the UAE, Saudi Arabia. We just couldn't move freely. Everyone had a desire to talk to us, to touch us. I'm not deceiving, but people came up and checked with their feet whether we were on stilts. And I see that such a trend has started, that we are already being copied.
Давят ногой, проверяют, на ходу ли мы. Вот. И вот я смотрю, вот, пошла тенденция, нас уже копируют.
Well, if they are already being copied somewhere, it means that the theater gave an impetus to create other similar shows that will delight millions of people with their work.
Только что вы посмотрели...
You have just watched the latest report in this issue of our program. You have to agree that Oriental flavor and Oriental colors are really unusual, unique, fascinating, and beautiful. This was Colors of Asia. See you next time.